And welcome back. This is your man Warrior, and I have got another video. This is going to be the Sith Heroic Raid Phase 3, and I got NW Robinson with the Rebels Alliance. Say what's happening.
How's it going, man?
Not too bad. Really excited to have you on for a second video. We will have a lot of other people with different team comps, but I really appreciate you stepping up and doing a couple of videos with me. Now, again, just like the other video, this is a video not about everything, having a dev account and having, the God mods and just me doing theoretical. This is actual players out there. Your guild, you can give them a shout out.
Hey, Rebels Alliance. Specifically Confusion is Bliss, and they work through with me to develop all of these teams. And these are not teams specific to us. These are teams that we find strategies around the web and we work on, and they've worked pretty well for us. This specific team, Chex Mix, is our go-to team to get through all of Phase 3, and we can usually get it down in about a half an hour or so.
So very cool, yeah. So all of this, of course, is definitely on YouTube, and there's a lot of content creators out there that are very cool that do a lot of raid videos. But what the idea for this video is to bring guys who are actually out there using these compositions out there. So that's why we had you on. And so Phase 3 of the Sith Heroic or non-heroic, you can use Chex Mix. Let's first go through the team, and then after the team, we'll go through how to mod the team. So go for it.
Absolutely. So the idea behind this team is that you have 4 attackers, so that when you stand alone with a Raid Han, he is gaining bonus offense from all of your attackers, which puts him in the realm of being able to do, I've seen as high as 140,000 damage from his primary, just the primary hit of the basic attack. And then, of course, he has a second hit that does additional damage as well. Ways that you augment this to increase the damage is through Death Trooper, which goes ahead and applies Death Mark on Traya, which pops again on every single hit that she takes for additional damage, as well as making it so that all attacks have to target Traya, which means that when side sabers attack Raid Han while he's standing alone, he goes ahead and counters directly at Traya. And then you additionally use POW, which is one of the few teams in the game that can go ahead and give offense up to your entire team.
Awesome.
You do this under a CLS lead, because CLS is going to give additional counter chance to Raid Han, puts him up to, I believe, 80% counter chance. And then you go ahead and use Chirrut, because he gives Raid Han tenacity up, so that when he standalones, he's not getting dazed by the side sabers, because that just kills the entire one.
All right, so it sounds like CLS lead with Han Solo, Chirrut, POW, and Death Trooper, because you need, of course, the Death Mark.
Yeah, and the POW slot is a little bit flexible. Some people use Jedi Knight Anakin because, of course, no one really has had a reason to farm POW before now. And he does well. He's just going to take an additional bit of time, because he only has the 25% chance to give offense up to your entire team. And then some other people have just been using Princess Leia, which doesn't give offense up to your team, but is still just a strong attacker with a good base offense. The good thing about POW is that because he's only there for his buff, all he really needs to do is be able to go once and survive until standalone. So I personally use him at Gear 8 and have been very happy.
Gear 8 POW, nice. That's pretty awesome.
In the Heroic Sith Raid.
Yeah, Gear 8 POW in the Heroic Sith Raid. So that sounds pretty cool. And what's really cool about the Chex Mix team is a lot of people have many of these characters they've been playing for a couple of years. Their team is now finally trying to attempt the Sith Raid, and they're really looking for these go-to teams, and this is why this is such a really great go-to team. How would you mod very specifically those 5 characters?
It's all about just getting the offense as high as possible, with the exception of Han, who needs to have maxed out critical damage. And the reason for that is that all the other characters are giving 100% of their offense to Han. So him having that 222% critical damage and critting on every attack just means that he's going to deal so much damage when he's in stand. Beyond that, it's really just figuring out the way that you like to sequence things correctly and getting the speed set up for that. I've honestly attempted a couple of runs, seen that they weren't sequencing correctly, backed out, and just gone into my Death Trooper, pulled a couple of mods off of him, not replaced them with anything, gone back in and had a 1.92 million damage run.
So you found more luck actually slowing this team down, specifically Death Trooper. I've also heard the same thing, in fact, with Han Solo. I've had a number of people tell me that's exactly what they did with their Han Solo. Have you found that you wanted to slow your Han Solo down and change the speed arrow to an offense arrow?
I have not tried. I don't think he needs to be slower, but I like the idea of possibly wanting him to be slower just to have that offense arrow. And the reason that he doesn't actually need to be slower to make the run work is he can always take 2 turns, and on his first turn, go ahead and pop his AoE that gives everyone, I believe, critical chance up, critical damage up, as well as giving him 50% turn meter. And then his second turn after that kind of comes at the perfect time as we're going through the rotation.
Very cool. So let's talk about general strategies of the Chex Mix team that you use very specifically. What does this general strategy look like? You go into phase 3, and what do you do?
Sabers, and you want to find a saber that has advantage. If there's not a saber that has advantage, I just dump the run right there. Go ahead and leave it coming back. And a lot of what this is going to be dumping 10, 15, 20 runs, but you can make the decision that you need to dump the run after 10 or 15 seconds, so it doesn't actually add up to too much time that you're wasting. So if there's not, I go ahead and dump the run. If there is a saber with advantage, I attack it with Raid Han, and then usually CLS is the second character to go, and I go ahead and use his second attack to kill off that saber. If that combination doesn't kill off the saber, because someone didn't crit, unfortunately, I dump the run. But what you want to find is eventually it gets into a winning combination that is Raid Han attacking a saber twice, getting it low, CLS killing that saber, Raid Han going again, popping his AoE on everyone, Cheer going, giving everyone tenacity up. It doesn't matter if he's cleansing and not giving tenacity up on other characters, as long as Raid Han specifically is getting tenacity up. Again, if Raid Han is debuffed, Chirrut has to cleanse that debuff instead of getting him tenacity up, dump the run. Chirrut gives tenacity up to Raid Han. Pow goes, gives everybody offense up on your team. And then at this point, with the speeds of my team specifically, Traya goes ahead and goes. That doesn't actually matter too much unless she specifically isolates Raid Han, because if she just does a regular attack or calls her sabers to assist, he can't get debuffs, because he already has Chirrut Pop giving him tenacity up. And then right after Traya goes, my Death Trooper goes, can terminate her and give her Death Mark because one of the sabers is down, and Raid Han follows up Death Trooper and goes ahead and pops standalone. Once he pops standalone, you want to specifically use basics, and the entire run takes another 15, 20 seconds at that point.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Sounds like a really, really cool team. All right. Any other generalized tips or tricks for the Phase 3 Chex Mix team that you'd want, or lookouts, watchouts, anything like that?
Just take the time to figure out how the team works best to you. It's a team that the first time you run it, your speeds aren't going to be set up for it. You're not going to be familiar with how everything works, and you're going to back out dozens of times when you're setting up the team initially. The good thing is that how you specifically set it up for this doesn't really take away from the character's usefulness in other areas of the game. So once you have it set up the way you want it to, you can go ahead and leave pretty efficient every time. Again, the big marks that you're looking for is you go in, you see a saber with advantage, you kill that saber with advantage between CLS and Raid Han in opening turns. Raid Han does not get debuffed, and then Raid Han does not get isolated on Traya's turns. And if all 4 of those things hit, you're going to have a quality run.
Very cool. Sounds good. Anything else about this team you'd like to share, or do you think that that's pretty good setup?
I think that that's a pretty good setup. Once you have the team down, again, it's a very simple run, and this is using a lot of tunes that you have. I know the marquee Rancor solo of CLS and Raid Han. Cheer is someone that you can get out of fleet stores that everyone should be working to because of how good he is in the in the late side territory battles as far as a sustain for your team if you don't have him already. Death Trooper, who is quickly turning into one of the more powerful tunes in the game and actually has been for a while now, and is definitely someone you should be farming because of how good he is for getting those Imperial Probe Droid shards for your team. And again, the 5th slot is flexible, with POW being the preferred, Jedi Knight Anakin being a good fallback if you don't have POW, Princess Leia being a tune that does well in that slot that almost everyone has farmed at this point in the game.
And who would have thought a Gear 8 POW would have been the desired person for this particular raid? Hey, NW Robinson, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing all of your knowledge on this Phase 3 Chex team. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for having me.
All right, as always, make sure you go and check out all the other content, and make sure you keep your gaming on. Warrior, out.